I'm Ian. I used to work in PHP, but for about the past 6 months I've been doing Rails. I like it a lot. My company is Amco Online, and they deserve some thanks for this because I wrote this stuff on our version of 20% time. So they're very cool. Occasionally we're on the mailing list, so keep your eyes out. I've been to one SD Ruby meeting before this, but I won the raffle there, so I got to keep coming now. What I'm going to talk about today is a gem that I just released. It's my first gem. It's called TRegexp. The idea is that I love regular expressions, but those of you who use them know that they're not very pretty. The syntax is just, it can be so frightening even to someone who really knows the ins and outs. Much less to someone who doesn't know much about regular expressions. It just, it looks so scary. So the idea behind this gem is, what if we used a different syntax for regular expressions? What if we used human words? It's not going to be as compact. You really can't beat the current syntax for compactness. But maybe it'll be nicer. Maybe it'll be friendlier. Just sort of an experiment in making something beautiful. So I'm just going to throw a bunch of code at you because I don't have a better way to explain this. So here's the standard regular expression. You've got your string on the right that you want to, or your pattern, on the right that you want to match, and you're matching against your string on the left. TRegexp has a similar thing. The block on the right there is your pattern, and the string is on the left there. Just use the method name rmatch because I didn't have a better idea. You can do some standard things that mesh very well with the language and behave like you would expect them to. So here you end up just looking for the whole string ABC, and then I start adding in operators. And I've tried to keep it all as built into Ruby as Ruby-esque as I can. So this is a simple alternation that will look for either XYZ or ABC. Some nice things start falling out of this right away. One of the things I really like is that you don't have to worry about, escaping special characters anymore. I just hate trying to figure out which of the, punctuations that need a backslash and which don't, and which are going to match one way and not the other and stuff. With this one, if it's in a string, it just knows that you want that actual string, not any of that. It's not an operator if it's in a string. There's precedence, and again, it works like you would expect. It just fits right in with Ruby. So this one is going to look for AB and then a Z or a C. There's some repetition operators, so we have or more or less exactly, and you can even use ranges. So that would be anywhere between 1 and 5 A characters on the bottom there. And then there's some standard aliases for common things. So 0 or more is the same as any. 1 or more is the same as some. Those of you who do regular expressions are going to be kind of mentally mapping these to star and plus and all that. But my hope with this gem is that even if you don't know that, it still makes a reasonable amount of sense. So that you don't really have to be thinking regular expression to get what's going on here. Character sets, any character or any char matches any character. Letters, digits, word characters, which includes the underscore and all alphanumerics, white space, and you can even create your own with ranges of characters. So this is anything of 3 of A, B, or C. There's 2 kinds of negation. There's this one, which is a word character that's not X, and then there's this, which is just a shorthand for any character that's not X. Give one more second to look at that. I'm moving through these fast, but the slides will be up online if you want to go back and look. There's grouping, which works, if you're familiar with grouping regular expressions, works that way. So there's the group method, and you can use the match data that's returned and get an array out of it that's just like the groups in regular expressions. But what I like better is name groups. So here we're actually giving the group method 2 parameters, the first being a symbol, and then the second being the content that we want to group. and you can treat the match data as a hash and get it out by name, so it's a little nicer. You don't have to be using numeric indexes to pull things out, which I always thought really sucked. And I like even better with the block syntax, so this is the same as the previous example, but you'll see this time what you want to match for the group is inside a block. And so here's kind of a hypothetical example with like a tab separated invoice line or something like that. So we've got a couple of groups here. We've got the serial number, which is some digits, and then there's some white space, which we were just basically ignoring, and then there's the source of the order or whatever. So I really like how the group lets you kind of separate out the different parts of your regular expression visually, and then down at the bottom, of course, we can just pull them out with the symbols. So before you get really excited and use this in your space shuttle software, it's it's very experimental at this point. I just wrote it. I tested it, but it's modifying some pretty important parts of the Ruby libraries. And I tried really hard not to break anything, but I don't make any promises. I'm monkey patching kind of all of the important classes. So just be careful, be warned, buyer beware. There's a feature in 1.9 called Refinements. They're going to make this totally awesome, because then I won't be in risk of breaking anything anymore. So I'm kind of excited about that, but I haven't actually tried it yet. Looking for future stuff, I'm pretty happy with where it is now. Like I said, it's basically just an experiment, and I like how it turned out. I do need a better name, so I'm open to suggestions there. I certainly could add more syntax. There's more in regular expressions itself. I think it'd also be cool if I can find some things that regular expressions doesn't provide. The name groups was one of those. That's sort of an above and beyond kind of thing. So I'm certainly open to ideas there as well. Of course, if you suggest that I make a method named 0 width positive look behind, I'm going to say thank you, but no thank you. The idea is to keep this very, very friendly. So I'm not ever going to replicate all of regular expressions. I'm just going to do the parts that make sense and are cool and fun. I think it might be a nice way for someone who is kind of frightened by regular expressions to dip their feet in and get the functionality without having to learn all of the arcane symbols at first. Maybe there are other things too, other places where this really makes sense to use. So if you have thoughts, I'd love to hear them. That's it. You can check me out on GitHub. The gem is up there. I haven't actually published it in Rubyforge yet, but I will pretty soon. And these slides will be up there too if you want to go back and take another look. Questions?
Do you have a way to emit the compiled regex?
Not in the API. Behind the scenes, I'm just turning it into a regex and running that. So I certainly could. It'd be a little ugly because, like, right now I'm putting things in a whole bunch of nested, non-capturing groups just for the sake of simplicity in building it and stuff. So what you got out might not. It wouldn't be necessarily the simplest thing that you could write by hand, but yeah, I certainly could.
What's the current name of the project?
TRegexp, named because there's the regex class in Ruby, and it made me think of Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Okay.
Right. Clearly I planned this outfit.
I was wondering how much both the compilation step and the fact that you're generating, it sounds like, fairly convoluted regex, how much of a performance penalty that creates.
I don't actually know. I haven't done any benchmarking. It's kind of a new project, and I haven't actually found a use for it in any sort of production environment yet. So certainly it will add some. I would guess that most of the convoluted regex stuff just gets optimized right back out when that's compiled. So my intuition would be that that's not too bad. And the wrapper stuff I'm doing isn't too bad. It's just a bunch of classes for the most part. I'm not doing a whole lot of computation. So if I was going to guess, I would guess that it's not too great of a hit over over the standard Ruby class.
It probably works better than the regex that you don't write.
Yeah.
It's a neat hack. I just wanted to clarify something. I have trouble keeping all the different regex engines I use straight, but I'm pretty sure in Ruby 1.9 at least you can have named subgroups.
Oh, all right. I didn't know that. That's cool.
It's got a new regex engine. It's a pretty good one.
All right. Well, that would actually make my job easier because I had to kind of keep track of that stuff on top of the standard engine. All right.
Anybody else?